Part 140. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1391. Chapter 1391. Actually, this matter is easy to handle. Luo Chiao Mian held Zhang Luli's hand, hesitated for a while, and said, I want to say that no matter what other people in the Mo family are like, as long as the eldest brother likes you and treats you well, it will be fine. Just like after Mo Yesi and I got married, we only went back to our old house occasionally. Whether his family likes me or not, I don't live with them. What kind of people are you surrounded by is the most important thing. Hearing what she said, Zhang Luli didn't understand anything. After being silent for a while, she curled her lips and nodded, yes, I understand. Asterisk. Amochia. A middle-aged man stood outside the piano room. The man reached out and knocked on the door, and the sound of the piano in the room stopped. After a while, a woman's voice came from the room, come in. The man reached out and gently pushed open the door. After entering the room, he gently closed the door. A woman sat next to the black lacquered piano, with a cold and noble face, and the appearance of a lady. The man quickly walked up to the woman and said respectfully, Madam, I have already investigated the matter you asked me to investigate. Mrs. Mo's slender, white fingers are like green jade and are extremely well maintained. The hands resting on the piano look like they have never been touched by any rough work. She retracted her fingers from the keys and slowly stretched out a hand. The man immediately handed her the survey information in his hand. Mrs. Mo took it and looked at it for a while, her face becoming colder by the inch. After she finished reading all the information, she raised her head with a livid face. As expected, she is another woman from a slum. He is also a lowly actor. These foxy girls came shamelessly to seduce her son. One Chiao Mian was enough, and now Zhang Luli also came. It is already a big joke for the Mo family to marry a lowly actor. She will never allow another actor to step into the Mo family. If people knew that her two sons were married to actors, she didn't know how many people would laugh at her. Even for those women who are far inferior to her, the daughters-in-law that their sons marry back at least have a certain family background, and they will not engage in such a lowly job as an actress. Her son is many times better than the sons of those women. Even if you are worthy of a heavenly being, you are worthy of it. The man lowered his head and glanced at Mrs. Mo's face, and said cautiously, Madam, please don't be angry, or you may damage your body with anger. Actually, this matter is easy to handle. If Madam doesn't like this girl, I have a way to make her separate from the eldest young master. Mrs. Mo raised her hand and threw the information in her hand to the ground. She looked at the man who spoke sullenly, what can you do? The man hesitated for a few seconds before he cautiously said, Madam, you can start with this girl's parents. According to our investigation, her father is a gambler, her mother is also a gambler, and the family also values boys over girls. She has a brother, doesn't she? We can let her brother do something wrong. Her parents will naturally be anxious by then. Madam will arrange for someone to come forward to help solve the problem. At that time, no matter what your request is, her parents will definitely agree to it. Mrs. Mo was stunned. After a few seconds, the gloomy look on her face faded a lot, and her eyes brightened. When the man saw this, he knew that Mrs. Mo must have listened to his suggestion. He continued, she also has a neighbor brother in her hometown with whom she grew up as childhood sweethearts. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1392. Chapter 1392. Don't let the Mo family make another joke. The neighbor brother likes her very much. Her parents had previously intended for her to be with that man, but she refused. Mrs. Mo's eyes became brighter and brighter, and there was even a smile on her lips. She looked at the man and said excitedly, "You continue." "Yes, madam." The man paused and then said, "This little girl and the young master have just been together not long ago, and their relationship must not be stable yet. If some misunderstandings are caused at this time, I am afraid that the young master will treat her badly. I don't like it that much anymore. Madam, think about it, what is the thing that bothers men the most?" Mrsmo was stunned again, and then her eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes, if madam trusts me, you can leave this matter to me. I promise to handle it well and solve madam's troubles." Mrsmo's heartbeat was a little fast, and there was a trace of hesitation in her eyes. "Madam wants to cut off this bad relationship with the eldest young master as soon as possible, so she can no longer hesitate. If she waits until she is pregnant with the eldest young master's child, things will be difficult to handle at that time. If the pregnancy is known to the old lady again, the old lady will definitely let her in for the sake of her children. Our eldest young master is someone who wants to do big things, and his status in the future will be even more noble and prominent. How can she be worthy of the eldest young master? Madam is doing this for the eldest young master's good. I believe the eldest young master will definitely understand the madam's hard work. The eldest young master has always been filial, and he will not get into trouble with his wife because of a little woman. She doesn't have to worry too much." Mrsmo was a little hesitant at first. Moyesi is now at a standstill with her. Before this, she did not believe that her second son, who had always been filial, would have such trouble with her over a woman. But now, what should she do if her eldest son also gets into trouble with her? However, there are some things she has to do. The Mahists already have a joke. She couldn't let the Mo family make another joke. Even if her two sons blame her in the future, she can just have a clear conscience. Everything she did was for their own good. Even if they can't understand it now, one day they will understand her good intentions. Thinking of this, Mrsmo no longer had any hesitation in her eyes. "Okay, you go and do this right away. You must do it carefully and don't let anyone find out. Especially don't let the eldest young master find out. He is at the most critical moment now, so don't let him be distracted." After a while, the man left the piano room. Mrsmo turned her head and looked out the window. She sighed softly and said to herself, "Shisiu, don't blame mom. ACI has already done something wrong, and I can't let you make the same mistake again and again." Asterisk. Later, Moyesi drove to Mo Shixiu's house to pick up Chiao Mian. As soon as he arrived, Mo Shixiu came back within a few minutes. Chiao Mian and Zhongluli were playing games as a team. Sister Lin knocked on the door and walked into the bedroom and said to them, "Miss Zhang, Madam Second Young Master, the eldest young master and the second young master are back." As soon as Sister Lin finished speaking, two tall figures walked in from outside at the same time. Sister Lin saw the two people walking in and called out respectfully, "First young master, second young master." Zhongluli and Chiao Mian raised their heads at the same time. Looking at the two brothers with handsome appearance and noble temperament, they slowly approached them. Chiao Mian and Moyesi both looked like an old married couple. After the two looked at each other and smiled, Moyesi stretched out his hand, and Chiao Mian put his hand on it. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1393. Chapter 1393 The Invisible Man Who Seduces People Anytime, Anywhere. Moyesi held her hand and said, "Baby, let's go. You and your bestie have been here for so long, and you must have finished saying what you need to say. Let's not stay and be light bulbs, disturbing Big Brother and her. Zhang Luli's face suddenly turned red when he was teased. Mo Shixio smiled faintly. He walked towards Zhang Luli. When he came to her side, he also extended a hand. I ordered a dress for you, go and try it on. Looking at his outstretched hand, Zhang Luli was still hesitating when he saw Mo Shixio bending down and holding one of her little hands. Zhang Luli was startled, as if he had been burned by something. She raised her head in surprise. Mo Shixio had a calm expression on his face, but there was some gentle water in his eyes. He looked at her with dark eyes and said, "What's wrong?" Zhang Luli bit the corner of her lip. From the corner of her eye, she glanced at Xiao Mian and Mo Yesi who had not yet left. Her face became hot again. She shook her head, stood up and said, "Nothing. Why did you come back so early? I thought I had to wait another hour or two." "Well, it's over early," Mo Shixio said naturally as if he didn't see anyone else in the room. "I don't want you to wait too long." Zhang Luli's face was instantly dyed red. She didn't expect that Mo Shixio could be so good at coaxing girls and saying such sweet words. Moreover, in front of other people. Beside, Xiao Mian had an ant's smile on her face. She was previously worried that Mo Shixio had a dull personality, did not know how to be interesting, and did not know how to coax girls. She was afraid that Zhang Luli would find it too boring to be with him. Now, she felt that she was worrying too much. She found that the men of the Mo family were more sultry than the last. Mo Yesi and Mo Shixio had zero relationship experience in the past. She originally thought that Mo Yesi didn't know how to get along with women and must be emotionally clumsy. As a result, she underestimated him. He has never been in love, but he is born with love skills. Any sweet words are easy to come by. So, probably the men of the Mahist family are all the same. Are all people born with love skills? Mo Yesi is like this, and so is Mo Shixio. The worries she had before were all unnecessary. "Baby, I have prepared a dress for you, do you want to try it on too?" Mo Yesi raised his lips and looked at his eldest brother, then at Zhang Luli, and then walked out of the bedroom with Xiao Mian in his arms. After the two of them went out, Xiao Mian thoughtfully closed the bedroom door. Asterisk. After Xiao Mian got into the car with Mo Yesi, she thought of what had just happened and couldn't help but sigh. I didn't expect that the eldest brother could make girls happy. Mo Yesi, are all the men in the Mo family like this? What's it like? Mo Yesi raised his lips and looked at the little woman next to him lovingly. "I'm just born with the skill of talking about love." "Have you got your own love talk skills?" Mo Yesi raised his eyebrows. "Is this a compliment?" "Well, that's right," Xiao Mian nodded. "I don't know if it's born with it or not," Mo Yesi said with a smile, "but I know that men from the Mo family will only automatically activate the skill you mentioned when they meet the person they are destined to be." Xiao Mian. This man is invisible and can seduce people anytime and anywhere. Accidentally, he made her heart beat loudly again. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1394. Chapter 1394. You are learning. Who did you learn from? "Baby, what's wrong?" the man asked in a low and gentle voice. Xiao Mian took a deep breath, secretly thinking that she and Mo Yesi were now husband and wife, and they could still be teased by him to the point of blushing and heart beating. If the two of them had just met, she would probably have had a myocardial infarction. "Mo Yesi, do you know that you just said another love word?" "Huh," the man's huh was a bit unconsciously flirtatious. Facing his dark and deep eyes, Xiao Mian's heartbeat accelerated again. She is often teased by her husband to the point where her heart beats abnormally. I wonder if she is the only one. "Then do you like to hear it?" The man stretched out his hand, took her into his arms, and whispered in her ear, "If you like it, I will tell you every day." Chiao mian mian. Do you like it? The warm breath was getting closer and closer. Chiao mian mian blinked. Asterisk. After Chiao mian mian and Mo Yesi left, Mo Shixiu also let go of Zhang Luli's hand. He turned around and said, "The dress is in the dressing room. You go and try it on first to see if it fits." After saying that, he walked towards the door. Zhang Luli looked at the man's tall and straight back and frowned little by little. She lowered her head and looked at the hand that was still warm from the man. Originally, she thought Mo Shixiu had enlightened just now. But not long after Chiao Mian Mian and Mo Yesi left, he let go of his hand and kept a distance from himself. He returned to his usual way of getting along with her. This made Zhang Luli suspect that what he just did was just for Mo Yesi and Chiao Mian Mian to see. Do you not want her to lose face in front of others? Don't want others to think that she doesn't have a good relationship with him? No matter what the situation was, Zhang Luli was quite depressed. Other people's boyfriends are very close to their girlfriends. But her boyfriend is too much of a gentleman. Mo Shixiu, stop! Zhang Luli felt frustrated. She looked at the man who had walked to the door, opened the door and was about to walk out, and she shouted angrily. Mo Shixiu paused for a moment. He stood at the door, not asking Zhang Luli what happened, nor looking back. But he didn't leave either. Answer me a question. Zhang Luli felt more and more depressed the more he thought about it. He walked quickly behind him and stretched out a hand to hold his arm. Mo Shixiu rarely took the initiative to do anything intimate with her. But he would not refuse Zhang Luli to get close to him. He let the girl behind him hold his arm and spoke in a gentle voice, "Well, what's the problem?" Zhang Luli bit her lip, "Am I your girlfriend?" Mo Shixiu was startled and quickly replied, "Of course." "Then do you regard me as your girlfriend?" "Certainly." "Then do you know how lovers should get along?" Mo Yesi remained silent for a while and replied, "I'm studying." "Still learning?" It seems like he didn't study hard. "You are learning, who are you learning from?" The man was silent for a while and then said, "Assistant Su will tell me some things, and I will also read relevant books myself." "What's wrong? Did I not do something right?" Mo Shixiu belatedly realized that Zhang Luli was unhappy. He turned around and looked at her carefully. Zhang Luli. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1395. Chapter 1395. I don't want to break up with you. He learned from Assistant Su. God knows how much disagreement Assistant Su had with her at the beginning. Even now that she and Mo Shixiu are together, Assistant Su's attitude is not much better. When the ink was being applied, Xiu's face was actually very polite. Without Mo Shixiu's absence, he had a strange and yin-yang look. Zhang Luli now seriously suspects that Assistant Su has a problem, which is why Mo Shixiu also has a problem. I don't even know what Assistant Su said to Mo Shixiu. She knew that Assistant Su was not optimistic about her and Mo Shixiu being together. "What do you think?" Zhang Luli curled her lips. "Mo Shixiu, do you think we look like a couple?" Mo Shixiu was stunned and asked, "You don't think it's the same?" "Zhang Luli, since you asked Assistant Su and read the book, you should know how normal couples get along. Do we look like normal couples like this?" Zhang Luli didn't realize it herself, but there was a hint of resentment in her tone. "If you don't like me, you don't have to force yourself to be with me. What happened that night was between you and me, and you don't need to be responsible for me. If you want to break up with me now, it's still too late." Mo Shixiu's face had always had a calm expression. When he heard her say the word break up, the expression on his face finally changed. He frowned, as if he suddenly realized something, and the expression on his face became serious. "Why do you say that suddenly? Is there something I didn't do well that made you angry?" If you have any dissatisfaction with me, you can bring it up with me and I can change it. But, don't break up casually. Zhang Luli, I am serious about dating you. I have also thought about our future. I don't want to break up with you. The man's eyes are deep and as black as ink, and there seems to be a thick color in his eyes that cannot be removed. When he said, I don't want to break up with you, Zhang Luli heard her heart beat faster. At this moment, she could feel that Mo Shixio seemed to really like her. Also attaches great importance to her. As soon as she mentioned breaking up, his expression changed instantly. He didn't look like he was with her just out of responsibility. But if he likes her, how can he treat her? Tell me, what did I fail to do? Seeing that she didn't speak, Mo Shixio thought she was really angry. He immediately began to carefully recall every detail of his relationship with Zhang Luli after they met, and wanted to know what he had done wrong. He remembered that he had read in a book that an emotional expert had analyzed this situation. The expert said that when a woman is angry, don't worry about why she is angry. Men just need to admit their mistake as soon as possible. There is nothing wrong with women anyway. If the woman is wrong, it is the man who did not do well. When a woman is angry, never try to reason with her. Talking to her will only make her angrier. After Mo Shixio filtered everything in his mind, he probably guessed why Zhang Luli was angry. I'm sorry. Following the principles in the book, even though he still didn't know why Zhang Luli was angry, he still apologized actively. Zhang Luli was stunned for a moment. Why are you saying sorry to me? Because I did something that made you unhappy. Mo Shixio consciously reflected on himself. Although I can't be with you every day, I will try my best to make time to come back in the future. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1396. Chapter 1396. If I make you angry, I am doing something wrong. Sorry, I may not be able to be by your side like other people's boyfriends. I know that I am not competent enough and what I do is not good enough. I have been thinking about how to balance work and relationships, etc. The more Zhang Luli listened, the more he felt that Mo Shixio had misunderstood something. Does he think she is angry because he blames him for not being with her more often? Mo Shixio, why are you apologizing to me? Mo Shixio was silent and said, I was wrong. Zhang Luli, where do you think you went wrong? If I make you angry, I am doing something wrong. If you do something wrong, you have to apologize. From now on, except for my work, all my personal time will be given to you. This is the maximum he can do. Mo Shixio, I think you misunderstood me. Xiao Mian sighed softly, I don't blame you for not having time to spend with me. Sure enough, he misunderstood her. Isn't it because of this? Mo Shixio frowned and asked with doubt in his eyes, what's the reason for that? Xiao Mian. It seemed that he really didn't think there was any problem with their relationship. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask this question. Mo Shixio, don't you think there is a problem with our relationship? We are boyfriend and girlfriend in name, but we get along like ordinary friends. Mo Shixio's expression changed slightly. He looked at her and said, what's the problem? Zhang Luli, don't you think we are different from other couples? We are boyfriend and girlfriend, but I don't think we get along like boyfriend and girlfriend at all. If you are only with me because of responsibility, actually it's not necessary. Mo Shixio frowned and looked at her for a while. No. Zhang Luli was stunned. It's not what? It's not all about responsibility. Zhang Luli's heart beat a little faster. Then, what's the reason? I don't know either. Mo Shixio had a trace of confusion in his eyes. He paused, then looked at her again and said, "But I don't want you to be with other men." Zhang Luli. What does he mean? Do you understand? Zhang Luli Mo Shixio suddenly called her name. Zhang Luli looked at him. The man's face is unparalleledly handsome, and every part of his face seems to have been carefully sculpted by God. His eyebrows, eyes, nose, and lips are all beautiful. He has a noble temperament, with innate nobility and elegance in his bones. Dressed in a white shirt, he looks like a noble prince from an ancient aristocratic family. Strangers are like jade, and young men are like no other in the world. Zhang Luli felt that these two sentences were most appropriate to apply to Mo Shixiu. This man is very good looking, has a very good family background, his own abilities are also very good, and his quality and character are also very good. It's almost perfect. Every time Zhang Luli saw him, he would doubt his own charm. Every time she couldn't help but think, would Mo Shixiu really like her? There is nothing about her that he likes. There are so many women in his circle who are much better than her, but they can't make him fall in love. Will he really fall in love with her? She is as ordinary as she is, what could possibly attract him to her? As for some advantages in appearance, there are no beauties that men of their status have not seen. I may not understand my feelings for you yet. But I know that my choice to be with you is not just because of responsibility. I have never thought about breaking up with you, and you should not think about breaking up again. It's impossible for me to give you up to another man. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1397. After chapter 1397, I will do what you say. His words were a bit forceful, and everything no longer relied on her gentle attitude. He can rely on her for most things. He will try his best to satisfy her all the requests she makes. But she wanted to break up with him, but he didn't agree. As for what you said, we are not like boyfriend and girlfriend. Mo Shixio thought about it seriously, looked at her and said, "You can tell me how you like to get along with me." "Sorry, I haven't been with anyone else before. I have been in love with girls, so I have no relevant experience. But I can learn and I can change, so please tell me what I didn't do well." Zhang Luli. What do you want her to say about this kind of thing? She suddenly realized that Mo Shixio might be such a slow and decent man. For him to take the initiative, it would be better for her to take the initiative herself. She has been waiting during this period, waiting for him to wake up and wait for him to take the initiative. But now it seems that if she continues to wait like this, she may not be able to get what she wants even if she waits for a year. Zhang Luli is different from Mo Shixio in that she is very clear about her feelings. She knew very well that she liked Mo Shixio and wanted to be with him. If she wants the relationship between the two to develop further, she can no longer wait blindly. She is not a coy person to begin with, nor does she feel that the man has to take the initiative when it comes to relationships. Zhang Luli decided that instead of letting others teach her boyfriend how to fall in love, it would be better for her to teach him how to fall in love. Under Mo Shixio's somewhat surprised gaze, she grabbed one of his hands. 5 slender jade fingers squeezed between his fingers, and then clasped tightly. "You can learn what you just said." Zhang Luli squeezed his hand and shook it gently. Although his face was a little hot, he never let go. "Then let's learn from the first step, Mo Shixio. From now on, you must hold my hand when you are with me." Holding hands is the first step in intimate contact between lovers. Mo Shixio lowered his head and looked at the two people's fingers clasped together. His thin lips moved slightly. Just as he was about to speak, the girl next to him suddenly jumped into his arms and hugged him. His body suddenly stiffened. The girl in his arms reached out and hugged him slowly, then raised her head, with a thin halo on her bright little face, and looked at him with bright eyes and said, "The second step is to hug." The girl was obviously shy, her face was red and her voice was soft. Amo Shixio's Adam's apple rolled, and a strange feeling suddenly passed through his heart. What about the third step? He spoke in a low voice. The third step. Zhang Luli bit the corner of her lip, her heartbeat suddenly accelerated, her eyes flashed, she reached out to hold the man's handsome face, and stood on tiptoes little by little. Amo Shixio stopped breathing for a few seconds. Warm lips came up against her, but before he could feel it carefully, the warm touch was gone. Zhang Luli's heartbeat was fast. She pursed her lips and pretended to be calm and said, This is the third step. When her lips withdrew, Amo Shixio actually felt a sense of loss in his heart. There is a fourth step. Zhang Luli was embarrassed to say the last step. Amo Shixio knew what she was going to say. The scene of that night flashed through his mind, and he found that he was a little moved. He took a deep breath, reached out and slowly pushed Zhang Luli away and said, The last step is left for us to get married. I know everything else. From now on, I will do what you say. Marry, a hint of surprise flashed in Zhang Luli's eyes. They have just started dating and he has already thought about getting married. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1398. Chapter 1398 I won't let you be wronged. Well, get married. But we have just started dating now. I know. However, I am also dating you on the premise of getting married. The man's eyes were dark and serious, so I hope to wait until some things are done. That night was an accident, and I suffered the influence of drugs. But don't worry, such an accident will not happen again before we get married. Zhang Luli. She has nothing to worry about. She is so depressed now because he is not close enough to her. Moreover, she wouldn't mind if the accident happened again that night. What's wrong? Seeing that she didn't speak, Amo Shixio thought about what he had just said, and then said, Did I say something wrong? No. Zhang Luli pursed her lips. She looked at him in silence for a while before she said, Amo Shixio, I hope you are with me voluntarily. I don't want you to force it. The man answered very quickly, I'm not forcing it, I'm doing it voluntarily. Zhang Luli was stunned for a moment, and the corners of his lips could not help but raise slightly. This is what you said. I gave you a chance to regret it. If you want to regret it in the future, you will have no chance. Amo Shixio's lips curved up slowly. Yes, I won't regret it. What if? Zhang Luli thought of something, hesitated, and asked tentatively, What would you do if someone in your family didn't like me? You are so good, they will definitely like you. What if they don't like me? I will find a way to make them like you. If it doesn't work, there is no need to force it. We will get married in the future and we will not live with my parents. They can't interfere in our lives. So you don't need to worry about it. Also, I will help with the marriage, not the marriage. If you are worried that the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law will not get along well in the future, you don't have to worry. Zhang Luli felt that Amo Shixio's words were like a tranquilizer pill, making her feel calm instantly. When she asked those words, she felt really uneasy and a little nervous. I am also a little worried about tonight's banquet. But with Amo Shixio's words, she was no longer as uneasy as before. No matter what, as long as Amo Shixio is willing to stand by her side, she has nothing to fear. Don't think too much. If we really get married, I will solve all the problems you are worried about. Let you marry me without any worries. Amo Shixio thought of the love lessons Zhang Luli taught him just now. He hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward and hugged her gently. His voice was low and gentle, I won't let you be wronged. Zhang Luli's heart trembled slightly and he raised his head. This was the first time that Amo Shixio hugged her since the two established their relationship. There is a very good aroma in a man's arms, a light, warm and peaceful smell. At this moment, Zhang Luli felt that he might really like her a little bit. Because he listened to everything she said. So, the reason why he wasn't close enough to her before was not because he didn't like her, but because he really didn't know how to fall in love? Zhang Luli's mood improved little by little. She felt that if Mo Shixiu didn't understand, just understand, she would no longer be anxious or have random thoughts. It's okay if he doesn't understand, she can teach him slowly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1399. Chapter 1399. She has been going on a blind date crazily during this period. As long as he is willing to learn and listen to her, many problems will no longer be a problem. He doesn't know how to fall in love, which at least proves that she is indeed his first girlfriend. Also his first woman. Compared to those who are experienced and know everything, she of course prefers people like Mo Shixiu. Asterisk. The Mo family did not invite many people to Chiao Chen's banquet in the evening. Invite only some relatives and friends. The Yan family, the Bai family, the Shen family, the Lu family, all of them were naturally invited. But the number of members of a wealthy family alone is several times that of an ordinary family. So even though not many people were invited, there were still hundreds of people in the banquet hall, and the atmosphere was lively. But everyone who has been invited here generally knows what is going on at tonight's banquet. A group of people gathered together and talked quietly. Do you know who the young master the Mo family just recognized is? I heard that he was the illegitimate son of Mr. Mo in the past. He never dared to recognize him. Now because the second wife has never been able to give birth to a child, he took him back because there was no other way. Fortunately, Mr. Mo has such an illegitimate son, otherwise he would have no offspring. But I heard that the second lady recognized one of her nephews as her godson. After this biological son comes back, will the godson still have a place in this family? The second lady may not be willing to do so. What can she do if she doesn't want to? No matter who makes it impossible for her to give birth. It's very kind of Mo Iryi not to divorce her and remarry her. I don't know what the young master I just recognized looks like. The genes of the Mahist family are there, no matter what happens, they won't be much worse. You can see people in a while. A group of people were talking, and suddenly a woman glanced in the direction of the door and lowered her voice and said, "The Shen family is also involved. Have you heard that Shen Ro went on a blind date some time ago and said she was from the Shen family? The company is in trouble, and the Shen family wants to rely on marriage to tide over the difficulties. However, with the Shen family in such a state now, no one would dare to marry into the Shen family." What about Shen Ro? Someone chuckled and said with a bit of schadenfreude, "Of course I heard about it. She was going on a blind date crazily during this period. Alas, I never thought that the arrogant eldest daughter of the Shen family would have such a day. Those the men she used to look down on might not look down on her now. By the way, will she come to the banquet tonight? People say the Shen family and the Mo family have a good relationship. If the Shen family is in trouble this time, is it possible for the Mo family? No help. If you really say CAO, CAO will be here. Isn't that Shen Ro?" Someone pointed in the direction of the door. Several women who were talking turned their heads and saw the Shen family walking into the hall from outside. MRS Shen, Shen Yunchinj, and Shen Ro, Shen Xin are both here. Even though the Shen family has lost power, Shen Ro is still dressed up and her momentum is not inferior to anyone else. She is still arrogant, like a beautiful and noble white swan. As soon as the two sisters from the Shen family appeared, the eyes of many men in the hall were attracted. In the circle, who doesn't know that the Shen family has a pair of sisters? Both the elder sister and the younger sister are extremely beautiful and are very eye-catching beauties. Even though Shen Xian is a little younger, she still looks as graceful as a flower. If it weren't for Mr. Shen's problem, the two sisters must have been wives that others dreamed of marrying home. But now, even men who are greedy for beauty do not dare to marry into the Shen family rashly, for fear that they will be dragged down by the Shen family. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1400. Chapter 1400. I really envy you at times like this. Shenro has gone from being a popular person to someone who no one dares to care about now. Those wealthy ladies who had been dominated by her in the past and were always inferior to her in every aspect knew that something had happened to the Shen family, and there were many people who took pleasure in the misfortune. Mr. Shen is about to go bankrupt. You see, she still looks very proud, and I don't know what she is proud of. If I were her, I would be too embarrassed to go out these days. She doesn't know what others say about her. What? Don't be so stubborn, the Shen family may not go bankrupt. The Shen family and the Mo family are family friends. At this time, the Mo family will help anyway. As long as the Mo family is willing to help, the Shen family will not go bankrupt. If the Mo family is willing to help, does Shenro need to go on blind dates every day? I think the two families are family friends, but now when it comes to issues of interest, the Mo family may not be willing to help. Stop talking, she's coming. Hey, what are you afraid of? The Shen family is like this now, are you still afraid of her, Shenro? Although several people expressed disdain for Shenro, when they saw Shenro walking over, they immediately lowered their voices and did not dare to continue discussing her. The Shen family has not yet reached the stage of real bankruptcy. Shenro is still someone they dare not offend easily. It's just that although they don't dare to offend Shenro openly, their attitude towards Shenro is no longer as polite and enthusiastic as before. In the past, several people would have already taken the initiative to greet Shenro. This time, Shenro came to them, and several people just pretended not to see her. No one went to say hello to Shenro. These people had a good relationship with Shenro in the past. Shenro had a calm expression on her face and walked past a few of them without saying hello. As soon as she walked over, someone complained to her back, "What's the air? Now I can't even get married, and I still act like a noble lady." She thought that the Shen family now is still the Shen family of the past home. Yes, no one in the circle knows that no one wants the eldest daughter of the Shen family. Does she think she is still the eldest daughter of the Shen family? A few people spoke quietly, thinking that Shenro didn't hear. But Shenro listened to their words word for word. Including Shen Xian who was with Shenro, they also heard it. Shenro's face turned extremely ugly for a moment, and she clenched her fists. She wanted to find those women. Thinking about the current situation of the Shen family, she could only tolerate it. Sister Shen Xian felt her anger and whispered, "Don't be as knowledgeable as them. They are just jealous of you, and they are gloating about your misfortune." Is it jealousy? Shenro bit her lip, thinking of all the experiences these days. A self-deprecating smile appeared on the corner of her lips. Isn't what they said the truth? Who doesn't know that the eldest daughter of the Shen family is now in the circle? It's not just them who think so, others also think so. Look, the eldest daughter of the Shen family used to be so proud and unattainable, but now she has been reduced to a position that no one wants. Do you think I have become a joke in the eyes of others? Sister, don't think so. They can't represent others, not everyone thinks that way. Since they can say those words, they are not real friends, so you don't need to care about what they say. Shen Xian, you know what? I really envy you at this time. Shenro stopped and lowered her head. End of this chapter.